This went on and on until one day I was watching a paddleball exhibition with my dad, and he was talking about how fast and talented the other boys were. And I longed to be one of those boys that my dad admired. And then, in Jerry Maguire, they had the line, break down, break through. Well, I pretty much hit bottom that day, but somehow I intuited that the way this is going to work, the way I'm going to get my dad's love, the way I'm going to get his attention is by becoming an athlete. Because my dad was an athlete, and I felt that was the way I was going to bond with him. So the way I was going to become an athlete was to lose weight. Then there was a girl in 5th grade that I had a crush on, and she viewed me as the class clown, and I wanted her to view me as a potential boyfriend. The third thing was that all the kids in class were wearing these very cool tapered jeans, and they just don't sell that in the Husky section. And I longed to wear what the other kids were wearing. I wanted to be like them. I wanted to just fit in. So somehow I bundled what I call these personal emotional triggers. Now, of course, at 9 years old, I didn't articulate it this way. But what I did was I bundled these 3 things: my dad's love, this girl's attention, romantic attention, and fitting into clothes that I couldn't fit into that the other kids could. And I don't know how I did it, but what I said to myself was, am I going to continue to eat the macaroni and cheese, feel like this fat pig, and be ashamed of myself, and just continue to not get my dad's love and feel frustrated in every way of my life? Or am I going to forgo the food, get my dad's love because I'm going to get thinner and become an athlete, and get this girl's attention, and fit into the clothes that I've always wanted to wear? And from that day on, I lost weight, and I found, and I'll discuss this a little bit later, I found personal emotional triggers that have worked for me throughout my life. In fact, I'll stick with it now for a second. One of the reasons why people lose weight is there is a motivating event in their lives that triggers their wanting to change. Whether it's new year, new me, whether it's I want to fit into a swimsuit because it's springtime, I'm in a new love relationship, I've got a wedding to go to, I've got a trip to go to, whatever that motivating event is, it amps you up and gets you to lose weight. The problem is that once you've taken the trip, once you have or have not gotten the guy or lost the girl or gone to the wedding, that motivating event is gone. And that's why after 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, people gain all their weight back. And that's a problem for Jenny Craig, and it's a problem for Weight Watchers, because they've contacted me because they can't keep their clients for a long time. They can't sustain the process. They get all these sign-ups at the beginning of the year, and 2 months later they're all gone, or most are gone. The thing that's unique about your killer emotions is that, and I'll use myself as an example, I lost weight because I had those 3 triggers: my dad's love, fitting into the clothes, and the girl. Well, I did get my dad's love. I didn't get the girl, but I became thinner. I became more confident, so I felt better about myself. And I could fit into the clothes that I always dreamed of wearing, which, by the way, is an incredibly empowering visual when you see yourself in the mirror fitting into the clothes that you always wanted to wear. But the problem is, I needed to find other motivations. That's where all these diets don't work, because the diets don't work on your emotions and psychology. So I changed my personal emotional triggers to, I want to become the best tennis player I can be in the country. And for that, I need to be thin. And then later, I had a dad who lived to be 102 months.
Wow.
As I got older, I kept eating healthy foods and staying thin because I wanted to replicate his vital life. My dad worked until he was almost 99. So he was a tremendous role model for me. Now I have a new personal emotional trigger. I've got a beautiful, wonderful wife in Melinda, and Mary and Tristan as my beautiful children. I now want to be around there for their weddings and to see their children. So I found new pets for me to continue to eat healthily, to stay thin. So what your Killer Emotions talks about is continuing to mine your personal emotional triggers throughout your life. So that's pretty much how your Killer Emotions began when I was 9 or 10. It was that concept of finding the triggers that will motivate you like no other. And it broke up my toxic script of whenever I was in an emotional pothole, I'd reach for the food. Just like people reach for the drink, the cigarette, the bad guy, the bad girl, or let their mother push their emotional buttons, or the person at work push their emotional buttons. You got to break the toxic script. And your personal emotional triggers help you to do that. One other point in this area, shame, the emotion of shame, people perceive that as a negative emotion, embarrassment, hopelessness. Not necessarily. Emotions aren't negative or positive per se. It is the expression of the emotion which is either positive or toxic. It's how you act. It's how the emotion catalyzes you to act. So the shame actually got me to lose weight, actually kept me on the straight and narrow of foregoing the food. I didn't want to feel that way anymore. I didn't want to feel the shame. I didn't want people looking at me every time I ate, wondering whether I was eating too much, whether that's really good for me or not. Now I can eat and nobody watches what I eat. It's a great thing. And so again, it's not necessarily the emotion that's toxic. It's the expression of it. I would like to go over the 7 steps, but I'd like to tell you about somebody that I've counseled, and that example will help me explain the 7 steps. There was this person named Steve who came to me, and his brother died of esophageal cancer, and his brother died of esophageal cancer, his father died of esophageal cancer, and he was a binge alcohol drinker. He had some real issues with his father. His father beat him. His father was very abusive. And he came to me, excuse me, after reading Crunch Time, because I touched upon all these personal emotional triggers in Crunch Time, but didn't really expand upon them. And he said, I've got to stop drinking because, and we talked about the because. And what I did was I sat and listened to him, and I learned about his personal emotional triggers. Once again, the things that will motivate you, the negative things, the things you hate, the things you loathe, the things you love, the things you want more than life. So what I learned was Steve had an autistic daughter. And if he died from esophageal cancer, nobody was going to be there to take care of Luann.